Hi everyone, it's Bree Johnson here at Face and Heart and Bones Facebook Live shoulder tutorial. I was asked to do to talk about shoulders, and also wanted to give some of you some great ideas in terms of more mobility for your shoulders, and a great little sequence that I really go, and this is my go-to sequence for a lot of my classes and just for myself as well. So let's talk a little bit about shoulders. I'm going to set this here. So shoulders, now most of us probably all do shoulders daily, just, sit like this, shoulders scrunched a little bit, crouched on a computer, driving. And we end up getting this internal rotation that happens at the front of the shoulder joint here. And so the first thing that we're going to play with is looking at how we can get some more mobility from the joints. That's my favorite way of thinking and approaching movement, is move from the joints. Get the joints to move, and then everything else is going to move a little bit happier and steadily as well. Hi, Carla. Thanks for joining. So here, let's start with our arm, and let's identify the bones that we're going to be talking about. So the first bone that we want to talk about, and you'll hear me mention, is your humerus bone. That's your upper arm bone. And we're going to do some internal and external rotation of your upper arm bones. So you'll bring your arm out in front of you and look at your arm. So don't just think it or feel it, but look at that arm and see if you can go beyond the skin, muscle, and into your bone, and see if you can get a sense of that humerus. And we're going to internally and externally rotate the humerus in and then out. Now, as you do that, there's actually something that you might be doing sort of sneakily, which might be pronating and supinating your forearm, which means if you take your forearm, let your elbow pit point up to the ceiling, let your forearm turn in, turn out, turn down, turn up. And if you can do that without moving your upper arm, that's called pronation and supination. So we want to not do the pronation and supination for this little exercise, though it's a great little movement. We want to move from the humerus. Remember, that's your upper arm bone. Hello, Jamie, welcome. So you're going to turn in and out, internally and externally rotate, and see if you can get a sense of that upper arm moving up and down. We're going to do the other arm. So you've done that a few times while I was talking. So again, look at your humerus, that upper arm bone. You're going to turn it up and down, internally, externally rotate. So we're just getting a sense of getting those bones moving in the glenohumeral joint here. So simple, so good. Especially, remember, if we spend a lot of time in this hunched forward position, shoulders rounded. So we want to get that internal, external, internal, external. Super exciting. All right, so you've got a little bit of that movement. And you were probably doing that with your arms forward. So now try it with the arms out to the side. And you can do them both at the same time. So you can go internal, internal, external, internal, external. And if it's too abstract to try to get a sense of your upper arm bone, the humerus moving, you can look at your biceps here. So there's your bicep. You want to turn your bicep down, turn it up to the ceiling. Remember, if you feel like your forearm is moving more than the upper arm, you're pronating and supinating, and we want to drive the movement into the shoulder joint. So move your bicep down and out. So we'll do that a few more times on both arms. Yeah, super exciting. There we go. Okay, and then relax. Now, if you want to open your shoulders, you also need to work on your hands, because it's all connected. Tension in the hands, tension in the forearms is going to tie right into tension in the shoulders, and vice versa. So when I do my shoulder sequence, I really like to spend some time waking up the hands. So I'm going to bring this down here, and you're going to see some hand action here. Does that work? Yeah. Okay. So the first stretch that we can do with the hands is taking your palms, and you want to turn them out like that. So I'll show it from the side. You want to turn your fingertips towards your knees, hands about shoulder width apart, and try to get your whole palm down onto the floor. And a lot of us will notice that the knuckles come up off the floor like that. So if that's your hands, try your best to try to press the knuckles right down into the floor. Good. And then others, we sometimes like to have hypermobile elbows. You can see that in my elbows a little bit. So let the elbows bend. And we're going to slowly peel the hands off of the floor. So that means you're going to pull your heel of the palm off the floor. Keep trying to press your knuckles down. Feel like they're this nice anchor. And now it's about the middle of the palm peeled off the floor. And stretch your thumbs off the floor. This is going to be a lot of fun for a lot of us, is trying to get those thumbs stretching away. And then take your knuckles off the floor. And so now it's just your fingertips on the ground, and your thumbs are going to still stretch out to the side. So you can see that from this angle here, is that my thumbs are not doing this little crunch thing. We want to extend, extend, extend. Yeah, so good. Give a little shake to that. Nice. And then the other one I like to add is this top of the hand stretch, like so. So I'm going to bring the tops of my hands. You can see the fingertips pointing toward my body. And then once you got that, lightly, you don't have to dig all the weight down into the palms, just lightly place the palms there. And then remember that internal and external rotation that we were doing before? See if you can do that here. Now, if you're trying this, it's not uncommon to actually have very little movement in this angle, or maybe one arm will move better. Yeah, this one's not moving. There we go. This one, right? So one arm might move a little bit better than the other. See if you can do that. And if you can't do that, that's okay. Do your best to try to get out of this position, straightening the arms, and then gently externally rotate. So again, if you've got hypermobile elbows, they're not going to pop out. You keep that slight bend, and then internally, externally hold, breathe, smile. Yay. Good, release that. Feel free to give a little thumbs up to this if you liked that little hand stretch. Yeah, hands, wonderful. Hands happy, shoulders happy. It's a win-win. Next layer that we're gonna do is the forearm stretch. And I'm gonna try to do this where you don't see down my shirt, as I'm realizing. So yes, thank you for those thumbs up. So your forearm stretch is, and again, yeah, I don't want to try to give you too much cleave. Maybe it will. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right. So what you're going to do is have the hands shoulder width apart, and have your hands as well. So I teach this a lot, and a lot of people will do this. Right, Jamie? I know. How hard is that? Wait till you try this forearm stretch. If you've never done this, it's going to be really fun. So you're going to have the hands shoulder width apart. A lot of people tend to do this. Keep the hands the same distance apart as your shoulders. And now the fun's about to begin. You're going to press your fingernails down on the floor, glue them to the floor. Keep the fingernails pressing down, and then press your wrists down to the floor. Some of us might notice that your fingers kind of pull back here. Yeah, some of us might notice that your fingers will pop up off the floor when you bring the wrists down. So do your best to keep gluing the wrists down to the floor. So it's not like that, but you're pressing the wrists, pressing the fingernails. You're still doing this. You're breathing, you're enjoying it. And you're going to try to get your thumb to stretch out to the side at the same time. Watch what your head is doing. Let your head relax as best you can. And we'll take a couple more deep breaths, pressing the back of the wrist into the floor, pressing your fingernails to the floor, and then stretching your thumbs out to the side. So good. If you've never done this before, it will change your life. So that's our forearm stretch. Come out of that, give everything a shake. And again, feel free to give the old thumbs up or love sign if that was awesome. That's one, honestly, if you do nothing else for your hands and shoulders, but just that forearm stretch, they'll change everything. All right, so we've progressively gone, thank you. Hi, Kathy. We've progressively gone through a quick little hand stretch, hand and forearm stretch. And now we're gonna come up the arms a little bit and go back into that internal and external rotation. So I'll place this back here. And now you're gonna go on your hands and your knees. And from your hands and your knees, I'm just again gonna realign this. From your hands and your knees, double check that your hands are shoulder width apart. And your hands are underneath the shoulders. And then go back into the bones of your arms and go internal, external rotation. And when you do this movement of the arms, keep your hands still. So can you guys see that? Internal, external. Do that a few more times. And then next time your elbows are your elbow pits, right here where the elbow crease of your arm, next time those are externally rotated, try to keep them there. Stay in that external rotation and gently press your hands into the floor. And then we'll go into the rhomboid push-up. If you're not familiar with the rhomboid push-up, I hope we can get a good angle of it here. But you're going to let your shoulder blades drop down and then widen apart. Shoulder blades together, shoulder blades wide. Good. So hopefully that makes sense. When we do this, your arms are going to be like strong pillars of support. And what that means is that you're not going to bend the elbows as you come up and down. You keep that nice, strong, extended arm and just let your shoulder blades relax together and then spread apart. And keep doing that a few more times. And check the arms. Did your arms start to look, did the elbow pits start to turn toward each other? And if so, externally rotate them. All right, so that's the rhomboid push-up. Fabulous. Now we're going to revisit, because I like to do things more than once, sort of like a before and after, but it also keeps the movement going and keeps the blood flowing. So I like to cycle through some of these a few times. So what we're going to come back to is the forearm stretch. So after doing the rhomboid push-up a few times, after doing the hand stretches, let's go back into our forearm stretch, which means you are going to go and bring those forearms down to the floor. So your elbows are shoulder width apart. There we go. Palms facing up to the ceiling. And again, glue your wrists down, glue the fingernails down, and see if you can move your thumb to the floor at the same time. Now, if you can keep all three pieces, the wrist, the fingernails, and the thumbs on the floor, you can also pull the hips and shoulders back a bit. Good. Big deep breath. Couple more deep breaths, and notice if it's a little bit easier maybe. Hopefully you've got a little bit more space to breathe into, a little bit more room to press the wrist down with a little bit more ease. Good. Yeah, okay, that was a thumbs up. Somebody felt the difference. Beautiful. Okay, one more big deep breath in. Big deep breath out. Release. And we're not done. So now what you want to do, I'm going to pull my bolster over, but you don't have to have a yoga bolster. You can have some blocks. You can have a bunch of books. You can do this on a counter, but I've got a bolster here, so I'm going to show you on this. So the next thing, we're moving up. We've stretched the hands, we've stretched the wrists, we've stretched the forearms, shoulders. Now we're going to get more into the front of the chest here. So that means you're going to bring your elbows to rest, shoulder width apart on your bolster. And then you're going to walk back. So I can't get my whole self in the frame here, so you guys will have to get the idea that my pelvis is over top of my knees. Good. So my hands are together, fingertips pointing up to the ceiling, palms together, letting the head relax down between the arms. Good. Okay. So we're here, we're stretching. And then you can add on to this. You can bring your arms back so that the hands are between the shoulder blades. And try to move not so much from your fingers, because my wrists have more movement than my triceps here. So that means I'm going to try to move my forearms close and my hands will just arrive between the shoulder blades. Okay, so I just want you guys are still doing that, hopefully getting that lovely stretch. But one of the things that you want to think about and watch are your rib cage. So if you're doing this and the ribs are just flopping down to the floor, pull them back up into your abdominal wall, and that will give you more of a true stretch here in the chest and shoulders. So let's do another big deep breath of that. And then exhale, release. Good, okay. Now come out and let's go back onto the hands and the knees another time. And we're going to go back into that rhomboid push-up. So your hands are underneath the shoulders. Yeah, there we go. So your hands are underneath the shoulders. And then that rhomboid push-up is the elbows or the shoulder blades coming together and then spreading apart. But let's do it as a circle. So you're going to circle your shoulder blades around. And really put your attention into the shoulder blades themselves and really see them squeezing, squeezing, squeezing as they move down the back. And then feel them spreading apart as they move up and around. So hopefully you can get a good sense of that. I don't have a good angle for the top so that you can actually see what my scapula are doing. but I think you get the idea. So a few more circles of those, trying to get your full range of movement into your shoulder blades. And then change directions. Now this version is always really fun because you probably went in the direction that is easier, is your more dominant direction. So doing it in the non-dominant direction also wakes up your brain quite a bit. So shoulder blades, squeezing, spreading, and circling around on your back. Nice. Let's do another big circle of that. And then we've got just a little bit more fun to do. Yes, yummy. I know, Carla. Hey, getting that full range of motion. So before we transition to our next little section, feel free to take a moment and see how those shoulders feel. So let your arms relax by your side and see if you can feel that blood flow a little bit more, that happiness in your shoulders. Yeah, everybody good? Are you still with me? Loving this? So let's, I'm going to put this back down. If you're okay, if you have a floor that you can lie down on, you are going to lie down on it. And then you're going to go on your side. And so I'm just on my side, my knees are bent like that, and I'm supporting my head with my bolster. Christine, hello. Hi, okay, we just had some technical difficulties there. So we're back, we're live. Now, if you're lying down, you can do this in a bed, you can do this on a floor, you can do it however often you want, but you're gonna bring your arm up to the ceiling, reach it up, and go back to that internal and external rotation. So for those of you who are just joining us, hello and welcome. Nice to see you, sort of. I guess you can see me, but I can't quite see you. But welcome. We're doing some internal and external rotation. So even if you aren't able to lie down wherever you are at home or at work, if you're watching this, you can still do this sitting up. So I'm turning my humerus, my upper arm bone up or in and out. So getting a nice delicious rotation there. All right, so you've done that a few times. And then now move your shoulder blade down to the floor and then up to the ceiling, down and up. Let me try to see if you can see that from the back here. So I've been internally, externally, and now I'm letting my scapula slide down to the spine, then up to the ceiling, down to spine, up to the ceiling. So you're doing that a few more times. And then arm up. Good. Go back into the external rotation. So your humerus is moving out. You can think about your bicep externally rotating here. And then shoulder blade wide. And then let the arm come back. And we're just going to do a little bit of this circle. So sort of a circle because it's really just moving your arm up to your ear and then back and down. But in that externally rotated position. Good. So it doesn't seem like a lot, especially just here looking at this on the video. If you're not doing it, you won't necessarily see how much work it may take for your shoulder to stay in that externally rotated position, which is then going to wake up your pecs. So as we talked about at the beginning of this little tutorial, a lot of us are in that forward pec movement. So let's open that. But then let's start to add more movement. So this was just in the glenohumeral joint, in your shoulder joint. Let's start to bring it into the torso. So let's do a little bit of spiraling movement to release that. So the spiraling movement I like to start with is bring my arm forward. And then we're just going to do a big circle. Let the arm come up and over. And as I come up and over, I'm going to roll onto my back a little bit. So my chest is up to the ceiling, reaching. My arm reaching down. And then I'm reaching forward, so letting my chest drop to the floor, getting that nice stretch along my back, and then opening and spiraling. So this is so delicious. It's sometimes I find the really simple movements are underrated and underdone. So something like this, like, yeah, big deal, I'm circling my shoulder, but it's not a big deal. Your shoulder, your back, everything gets this nice, beautiful release. So let's circle around the other way. If you're doing this at home, if you're watching this video later, not live, then you can absolutely spend more time doing this because it's just all about rotating and getting this beautiful unwinding, spiraling action through your torso. Okay. Now take a moment. So you're going to roll onto your back and then notice, and I want you to notice how one side feels compared to the other before switching. So do you feel the difference on one shoulder? What's changed compared to the other shoulder? And then we'll try to the other side. So come around here. And hello to those just joining us. We're doing some delicious shoulder work here. I've got a bolster supporting me. You can always tune into this video after we aren't live anymore so that you can get the whole picture, what we've been doing up until this point. But for now, we are going to be internally and externally rotating, that upper arm bone, right? So your humerus turning in, turning out. So ball and socket joint, because this is what you're doing here. So there's your humerus turning in its beautiful ball and socket joint. And then staying in that external rotation, add a little bit of a bend to your elbow and just allow your arm to come back. Good. And then bringing it back and around. Oh no, wait, we forgot. So last time your shoulder blade was coming down to your back and then up off the back. So think about this top scapula here dropping down to your spine and then lift it up and away from your spine, and you'll notice how that brings your arm further up to the ceiling. So down and up, down and up. Good. Okay, so now keep your shoulder blade away from your spine, lift it up, externally rotate, and then bring your arms back, your arm back. And then you can try to just reach it up and around. Now there's a lot of variations. When I teach this, I was going to say when I teach this live, this is live, but in a live classroom setting with people that I actually can see, there's a lot of different variations that we can do with this in terms of muscular engagement and waking up certain parts of our body. But for now, we're just going to work on some mobility, unwinding some of that accumulated tension that we may carry. Okay, so there's that, pretty simple. Now let's do the spiraling. So that was again in the glenohumeral joint here. Now we're going to spiral so that the torso, all those beautiful large muscles in your back, chest, and front get to start to unwind and move. So we start that with reaching that front arm forward as far as you can, letting your chest drop toward the floor, and then circling. And when you come back, you roll onto your back-ish. Like, hi, sorry, phone call. What is this? So you're going to bring your arm back and then forward. Reach, 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 and then open and unwind. So if you could see this from above, there's this lovely reach. Your muscles in your back are opening as you reach forward, then the chest muscles get to extend. And you can think about it too, if you've been holding a lot of tension and stress in your shoulders, and if you carry a lot of emotional weight in your neck, shoulders, chest, this is a really lovely, simple movement to think about unwinding that extra emotional weight. Good. So again, lovely opening, change directions, just unwinding. We're not worried about alignment. We're not worried about the details. It's just this really delicious opportunity to move your body. And when you move your body, all becomes well again, right? You don't have to do anything dramatic. We don't have to do an hour yoga practice. We can just spend a couple moments. Even just this one shoulder movement that we're doing can go a really long way. So let me pull this back up. We're going to leave it there. Got a little, there we go. So we're going to leave it there for your shoulder and hand and neck and chest love. Those of us who are doing this whole time with me, take a moment and feel what's changed, what's happened in your shoulders. Hopefully you've become a little bit more loose, but definitely the rhomboid push-up, the forearm stretch, the hand stretches, those are pretty much my go-to wake up movements that we do with Lindsay and Michael. Hello, I love this live stuff. I get to kind of see you guys. We're here connected. So those are my go-to stretches for the shoulders, for the hands. If you can do it daily, do it. Little bit goes a long, long way. And as I said before, this is going to be recorded and staying on the Heart and Bones Facebook page. So I'm so happy for those to join me live. I want to do this more and more. Let me know if you have any questions, if you have suggestions, you have something that you want to, oh, Joanne, hi, yes, I will do it again. And I was just saying it's going to be recorded, so you didn't miss a thing. Yeah, but if you want to know, if you have a tutorial of something that you're dying to explore deeper, I am here for you, using technology to make us better, to make this world a better place. So hooray, happy movement, happy shoulders. Thanks for taking the time out with me. I love y'all, and we'll see you again. Bye.